Hello everyone, welcome here. Today, we are going to continue playing Opus Magnum. I quite enjoy this game. Let's see, finally something a modern alchemist. Apparently, though, we're going to make a sword. Or at least alloy for one. Oh, that's an interesting material, and it's a repeating material. Okay, it looks like iron and what's the other material? Tin? Really? I don't think tin would make a very good material to include in an alloy, but anyway. Okay, we have 2 units of elemental lead. Is that all? Wait, what? Oh, we can use the purification for this, that's right. Okay. So, we need to make a ton of tin, and then we need to turn some of that tin into copper. So, what would be the best way to go about this? Hello, survey. Welcome here. I think I'm just going to go ahead and set up a couple of counter-rotating arms for this, because that way this can run really fast. And then we'll just grab, rotate, release, repeat forever, effectively. That way we get just loads and loads and loads of tin cranking off this thing. Okay, then I need to grab a tin. I need every 4 tin we can make one of these shapes to attach to the group. Okay. And 2 of those tin. Okay, I think I'm going to put an arm here. And the sole purpose of this arm is going to be to grab material. Boom. That'll produce an iron. Actually, let's do it this way. No, that's even worse. Okay. What I need to do is I need to grab a tin, an iron, a tin. And then, actually wait, no, we want to do it this way. Because we do want to connect to the next. No, I don't want to do it that way because it needs to be in this reflexed shape. I can use this to weld the iron together as it goes and then add the tin here. Okay, I don't think we're going to use this super fast tin maker because the problem here is that I want some tin to be on the top and some to be on the bottom. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to use 2 slightly slower tin makers. like this. Okay, that is the correct rotation directions. And basically what this will do is every 2 rotations they'll make a 10. And then we have a top 10 and a bottom 10. And then, let's move this shit out of the way for now. Then what we need to do is we need to grab every other 10 coming off the line. And one goes to the top and one goes to here. Like that. Okay, the 10s are not linked together linearly. However, we can link them and then unlink them for easier processing. Is that a good idea? Possibly not. I think what we want to do... Man, I really wish I could put this... even. Okay, anyway. Hello, Dread. Welcome here. This is gonna be annoying to do, isn't it? It's a relatively simple shape. It's just the process of getting the pieces to where they need to go to assemble is the hard part here. I think... Let's start assembling a bonder. Okay, if I do this shape here, that will bond the center section together for sure, if it's not already bonded. And it will bond that section. And if we flip this, this will give us all the bonds we need. Eventually. Now, is there a more compact way to assemble that with individual bonders? Probably. Is there an advantageously more compact way to do it with individual bonders? Probably. That is not more compact though, okay. Okay, this is a little redundant, but I think this is probably going to be the most compact system we can do easily. Now, of course, the problem is we need to move tin from these way over to here to start the process. Okay. So this, configured like so, will, every half cycle, drop an iron over here. And then we need, on the similarly timed cycles, to get a tin here. Is there an easy way to do this in a way that's not going to make me want to pull my hair out? I don't immediately see one. Anyway. we could do that there and this here, but then we need a way to get the tin from here to there, which we could do using a arm on a rail. Okay, but this is almost certainly going to hit that. Yeah. Well, it doesn't matter. It only matters if it's carrying something. But the problem is, it will absolutely be carrying something. We could move this back. That might hit and might not hit. That's maximum length already, okay. Alright, assuming this pattern actually works, we would then need you to be there. That's going to be a tricky position. Although for this one we would use a differently facing arm, I think. Wait. No, I'm screwing this up completely. Yeah, I need to reach to there. That's not a very good reach. We could do it if we had a 3-long segment here. Yeah, no, this is a really bad layout. Like, this one's not bad. We can just pull it back one tile. But then this one's awful. Yeah. I don't think... Yeah, this one's easy. To make this a similar approach, we could put it here. That would get us a symmetrical shape, but then we would need to move all of this, which is not necessarily the end of the world. The problem is, I don't know if that's going to work. Because then we have the problem that this one's too far away. Because to get the required shape, we need this to go here. And then we're right back where we were of them not nesting well. So we can't really use the obvious shape because that doesn't work well. Now, what we could do is give these arms up entirely and go with a different approach. Which I don't actually have any objection to. And then what we would do is we would have... Okay, these two arms would conflict. Because we would need an arm here. But actually, if I made them 3 long, maybe they wouldn't conflict. Because then we can do this. Okay, that's not what I want to do at all. There. That'll work. We can have 2 crossing arms here. And they each grab a tin off there, pull it back to here, boom, we have an iron here. And then what we need to do, after that process is done, we need to wait for another tin to be made on each of these, which is very fast. Okay, let's go ahead and program these real quick. Okay, at this point, tin is finished. So, we grab, this might need to be 1 forward, but we'll see. And then we retreat, and then we reset. Okay, these need to run twice to make a tin. Okay, yep, these need to be moved forward 1. Okay, and then these arms need to go ahead and repeat twice more. Since they start with a grab, this needs to be forward 1. Okay, there we go. Okay. And then we have our 2 tins and our iron ready to go. So, then we need to get those moved into position. Now, I think I'm going to use a double-ended arm for this one. Then the iron, I think we're going to use a piston arm. No, I can't swing through this position. And that's not going to work because we can't reach far enough to get it to where it needs to go. Okay. It would be slow as hell, but we could use rails to shuffle everything forward. I think what we need to do is give up on using the big fancy binder and use a baby binder and go ahead and make the shape a little bit weird to start with. Okay. Let's use a double-ended arm. 2 of them. Okay, if I run these arms in opposite directions, their unoccupied part will swing over top of the other one. Then we can bind our first tin and our first iron together. But then it's tilted the wrong way. Which is still fine. No, that's not going to work. I don't like that idea anyway. I could grab this whole assembly and tilt it the other way, and then we just have the bottom tin to move. But we could also just start assembling from the bottom. Okay, I think I'm more interested in using a simpler approach here. But I can't do this because we need to move it out that way. And we can't do that either. We could try something like this. Actually, this might work even better. Okay, let's say for the moment that we do end up just using double arms to flip those into position. Actually, okay, this would severely conflict with using a double arm to flip them into position. However, okay, that's worthless in this situation. I really need to use this as the first bonder. Okay, we just need longer arms, I think. But then we have the little problem that this doesn't line up anymore. But if we use short arms, then this can't sit there because it's got the extra appendage on it. So we can bond those two, but then this one's left unbonded, which is obviously a non-starter. Although, we can put a bonder here, like that. Let's see, what other bonds do we need? Okay, so this would give us, we would make this first bond right away. We would make this bond after moving it a couple tiles. Then this bond, and that bond, the middle bond, wouldn't be made until they reach this. Hello, wormholer. So we're going to need a shuffler anyway. So we have to shuffle these two together as one, and we have to shuffle that one separately until it gets bonded. Yeah, we got a lot of arms going here. Okay. So these shuffle this atom that away. And these shuffle this atom that away. I think we only need the one arm there though, because it'll bond to the center shortly, and then as it gets progressively pushed. But okay, without the center bond though, we're gonna need more shufflers, I think, actually, because okay, we'll worry about that later. For now, let's just get the process of assembling the damn thing working. So 6 and 7. Wait, okay, here's 5. 5, 6, and 7. I think 5 is going to hit 7 right there, which is tragic. So we're going to have to use a shorter arm. I think. Let's just try it anyway. Okay, so 5, you grab right there after everything else is done. And then you rotate that way and almost certainly collide with 7. No, even worse. It collides before it can even collide with 7. Also, 7's going to be swinging that way, so yeah, we definitely can't use this like that. We need to pull back. And then move over like that. Let's see, where do we actually have to drop it off? We have to drop it off right there, don't we? Okay, so that would work with no rotation. Can I make it shorter with rotation? Possibly. And that would give us a faster reset too. So we pull back, we swing, we keep moving, we move forward again. Okay, let's try that. We grab, we move forward, we swing over, we move forward, we release, we move forward, which resets. Well, actually, instead of release, we'll just use a reset, which will do the thing. Okay, let's try it. Okay. We don't know for sure yet if that's actually going to conflict with 7 or not until we actually have 7 do the swing. So let's program that next. 6 and 7. 6 and 7 both grab at the same time. And then 6 rotates that way and 7 rotates the other way. Twice. Three times. Because we need to do a 180-degree rotation. And then we just release. No return, nothing like that. Because that's why we're using the double arm, so we don't have to reset. Okay, let's see if this conflicts. Of course it does, because I had them rotate the wrong directions. Okay. This conflicts in a fun and exciting way that I did not foresee. Let's add a temporary period override so that none of this conflicts that way. Okay. 7 and 5 conflict. Let's see if I can reshuffle 5's ordering to make it not do that. I think 5 needs to wait 1 tick. Yes. Okay. I could probably adjust it slightly so that instead of dropping it there where we have to have a shuffler to run it, we could do away with the shuffler. Okay. Move, move, swing, move, reset. Okay, and then we have the shuffler grab the item and move it ahead 1. Chunk. We are going to need at least a 3rd, maybe a 4th or 5th shuffling arm on here. I think. Okay, so 8, 9, and 10. They are extremely simplistic. They are shuffling arms. So, grab, plus, reset. Okay. We're going to need to lengthen the period on this. I just need to figure out how far. Let's give it 2 ticks longer. Nope, needs to be 3 ticks longer at least. Looks like 3 ticks longer works. Okay. So we shuffle it ahead. We need to shuffle it ahead earlier. Or we could do that a little bit later. That probably still isn't going to work. Okay. Yeah. We need to move you 1 tick later. Ooh, that's beautiful. Okay. That's orchestrated perfectly. And it looks like 3 shufflers is enough. Okay. Let's move that down 1 tile. And let's run it. Okay. It's not terribly fast. Rather expensive. I wonder if I can shave any ticks off of it. Okay, I think I can move all of these back one tick. No, we can't. Wait, really? Okay. Well, I'm happy with that, I guess. Okay. Invisible ink. Interesting. We have two mirrored products. Although the only real difference is that one has a dark and one's a light. Okay, so we need this thing, which takes 2 salt atoms and produces 1 light and 1 dark. Okay, that's easy enough. All right. So I can kind of get an idea of what I want to do with this machine already. I kind of want to do a top half a machine and a bottom half machine. And I probably want to mirror them. Very roughly. So like this machine would supply this salt, this machine would supply that salt. Okay. So let me think about this. We need to grab okay. This is not going to work because these need to be salts. So we can do like that, swing them across. Okay. So that's a start. That'll get us our light and dark right there. These two arms can just swing. And then to assemble the rest of this, we can do this. Grab that, shift it up. Grab this, shift it up. Boom. Now we have a combined pair. And then to get the next piece, no, that won't work. Okay, this can bond two of these together to make this tail. And then we shift up, we grab this piece. Okay. If we do this all with one arm, it'll be quite simple, but also slow. But like, we can totally do this with one arm. Actually, this might not be as slow as I think it is. Okay, here, let's get rid of this arm. Let's program just this arm for a second. Actually, here, no. We'll program two mirrored arms for a second. Okay. That's a bit extreme. Go away. So we're going to be assembling just a small piece of this for now. So let's start. Grab. And then arm one swings that away twice. Arm two, of course, does the reverse. Then we release. And then we continue swinging in the same direction one more time. And then we grab. And then we keep swinging in the same direction one more time. And then we release. Actually, then we reset. Okay, let's try this. No. Because 2 is not actually reversed. Okay, no. Oops. It's mirrored in such a way that isn't reversed. Okay. Then, after that sequence, it returns to the start. They grab. And then they swing in reverse. One step. And then reset. Actually, I don't think I want to reset here. I don't even want to release. I want to extend and then release. Oh no, wait. Extend and then reset. I don't actually want to extend at this point. We're going to be doing a more complicated motion than that in the final design, but for now we're just assembling pieces. Okay. So we reset back to where we were. We grab. And then we rotate forward. And then we reset. And then we grab. Which I want to rotate forward twice for the first one. And then we grab. And we rotate forward once each. Oh wait, I used the, I want the extend. There we go. Okay. So that gets that shape in place. Now, instead of these extends, what we need to do let's see. I think that extend is actually exactly what we want to do. Okay, now the problem is with the next piece. So for you, what we want to do is you want to release. Actually, no. Yes. And then we want to move ahead again, and we want to re-grab, but this time a different part of the atom. So we're grabbed on like right here now. And then we have a problem because it's stuck and we can't move it anywhere. Okay. I want to extend twice, just to get the piece out of the way for now. Or... no, we're assembling it in the wrong order. I want to move this whole section after the other section. Okay, so now we're here. We've grabbed it like this. I want to extend once. And then I want to pivot it. I think this way. Twice. Let's see what this does. Wait, why is arm 2 moving wrong? Arm 2 is not starting the right location. That's why. Okay, there we go. Okay. Then after it rotates, it resets. And then we go through the reverse sequence of grabbing and assembling the next piece. And that is the shape we need, just with one salt short. Okay, now I'm not sure where I want to put those yet. I don't think that's the right location. But okay, anyway. Let's run the sequence so I can look at this for a second. Okay. We don't want these resets on there. Then we want to pivot that away once, and then reset, I believe. Yep. Okay. This is definitely not going to win any speed awards, but I really like how symmetrical the design is. Because both arms run exactly the same instructions. Apparently we did very well on area. Not terribly surprising, and actually cost isn't that bad either. Okay. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Purified gold. I feel compelled to note that you're turning lead into gold again. Okay. We need to make gold. We have 4 lead reagents. Okay. This seems very trivial. So, how many sequences am I going to need to do here? So we turn lead into tin, tin into iron, iron into copper, copper into silver, silver into gold. So I'm probably going to want to do a whole bunch of high-speed converters. Programmed identically. And then we'll tier those into the next ones. Let's see, how many tiers is this again? 6. So here's tier 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6. Anyway. I think we can just use doubles like that. To tie those together. And the reason we use double arms is because we don't have to reset them. They can just spin and go. Okay. Let's start programming. So the base is going to be super simple. All 4 of these arms are identical. They grab, they rotate, they release, they repeat. Five, 6, 7, and 8 are similar-ish. Okay, these repeats need to happen immediately. Okay, then everybody here grabs 5 and 6 are rotate opposed. 7 and 8 rotate opposed. And they need to rotate 3 times each. And then release. There is no reset. That's why we're using double-ended arms. Okay. So this will crank out an absolute ton of iron relatively quickly. After that, we need to turn this iron into the next tier. And I cannot neatly stack those quite the same way. Actually, maybe I can. No, not quite. Not unless I move them like one tile closer together, and we can't do that. So I think what I actually want to do here is have each of these operate independently. So 9 and 10 are opposed rotating, and what they want to do is as soon as 5, 6, 7, and 8 have done a rotation, they want to grab, at which point we immediately relaunch these to do the process again. And these guys need to relaunch as well. Okay, these guys need to cycle twice. And these guys need to cycle. And then these guys get to cycle. Okay, let's see. 9 rotates this way, I believe. Okay. Move forward twice. 10 is counter-rotating, I believe. Okay, let's just run this whole thing to make sure it's... Okay. That's why we run it for sanity. Okay, the retimes on those is wrong. They need to wait till there. Oh, yeah, of course. This needs to wait until after that before it picks up the next piece. Boom. Okay, there's my double coppers. All right. Now, that is not going to get us what we need either. Do I just continue running accumulators all the way to the end? I think I do. Because that'll give us 2 silvers, and then we just combine those two silvers. Please tell me that these aren't too far apart. Once again, they are. Of course they are. Okay, where are we going wrong that I can't reach? I think I need to move one of these 1 tile over. And then we deal more than 1 tile over. Okay. Okay. This should work. It's a pain in the butt to program it all, but it should work. Alright, 11 and 12. You guys need to grab. And then 11, you need to pivot that way. 12 is counter-rotating. And then release. And then at some point in the distant future, you need to repeat. Okay. And the reason I say at some point in the distant future is because then all this needs to run a whole another cycle to make it work. So let's program a whole nother cycle. So this runs twice. And then these run again. And then these run twice more. And then these run again. And then these run in between each one of those cycles. And those are actually surprisingly closer than what I thought they might have been. Okay, so that's arms 11 and 12. Do I want to keep programming longer and longer and longer chains? Or do I want to be sane about this and just program 13, 14, 15 to move more often than they actually have to? I'm going to be sane. Okay, 13. I want you to move that way. 14, you're counter-rotating. You need to move 3 times. And then drop. And then 15. Doesn't matter which direction you rotate. So technically this is going to produce half of a gold every cycle. Which means that these are going to run twice as often as they need to, I think. No, they won't actually. Okay, no, I was wrong. They run exactly as often as they need to. Okay, we did very, very badly on area. Speed was okay, I guess. And also it was kind of expensive. We could probably simplify this a good bit by using accumulator machines like this for all. That would definitely be extremely expensive though. I kind of like this machine. What I'm kind of curious about, though, is if it would be faster if I produced the tin faster or not. I don't think it would be, because there's really not that much separation between the cycles for producing the tin and producing the iron. Of course, we could speed those up if we used accumulator, rotors, because the double-ended arms are actually kind of slow. So it'd probably be better off if we moved the accumulators earlier and the double-ended rotors later. So if you replaced like 11 and 12 with the double-ended rotor system instead, and did the first several. I'm going to work on this one some more. Let's copy that solution. And let's improve it if we can. Okay. So I don't know why I bothered to copy the solution, because we're just going to delete everything up here anyway. Okay. That'll work. Let's pack everything together at minimum spacing for now. I can space them out more if I discover I need to. Okay, 5, 6, 7, 8. These are going to have exactly the same programming as the previous arms. Grab. They're going to be counter-rotating to the previous arms. And then release. And then repeat. And repeat. And repeat. Okay. Move those out of the way for now. Those should be non-conflicting at that distance. This can be an absurdly expensive solution. But also it should be pretty fast. I hope. Okay. Nope, that's the wrong. There we go. Now, 9, 10, 11, and 12. These we'll grab. They're going to be rotating that way. Counter rotating to the previous arms. And then release. And then we repeat. Just once. Okay. Now, this is where we have the double-ended arms. Because these don't operate very often. And the double-ended arms are a little slow. And those should produce silvers, I believe. So 13, 14, 15, and 16. They run exactly once per programmed cycle here. And they all grab. And then 13 rotates that way, I believe, 3 times. 14 is counter rotating to 13. "15 rotates the same direction as 13. And 16 is counter rotating. And then they all release. All right. Now, that actually is going to work beautifully. All right, 17 and 18. They do the exact same thing. Grab, grab, grab. Okay, we flip it around. Release. 18 is counter rotating. Release. After that, 19 grabs, rotates, and resets. It's the only resetting arm in the whole design. You know, I'm going to make 17 and 18 single arms. Okay, 17. There. Let's keep them where I can see what they look like visually. Wait, where'd 19 go? There it is. Alright, let's see if this thing runs. It does not run because these are all off by one. That's annoying. Okay. These upper ones go there, and the whole thing should run now. Alright, we can pull this in a little bit. So honestly, there's no real reason to use double-ended arms for 13 through... Okay, so that's definitely faster than the previous one. There's no real reason to use double-ended arms for 13 through 16 because they run so slowly that they could easily just spend the whole time required to do 360-degree turns. So that would save us actually a decent amount of money. It wouldn't make things any slower. Basically then instead of using these release instructions, we'd use reset instructions. Which, yeah, the reason to use double-ended instead of single-ended is so that your period is shorter. But these arms don't have any effect on the period. Are there any other arms that we could cheapen up? 9, 10, 11, and 12 have to be what they are purely because they have to hold... They have to accumulate 2 pieces before they drop. We could probably redesign so we don't need to do that. And just have a single arm do a more complicated sequence of movements. Because we got lots of time in 9, 10, 11, and 12 to do the movements. Yeah. There's plenty of empty space here we can use for whatever. So these could be replaced with single arms as well, which would save us... actually not that much money, really. The fixed length 6 gripper arms are only 10 gold more expensive than a single gripper. Once you add more than one gripper on an arm, apparently they're all the same price, which is interesting. Let's go ahead and try it anyway. So this is obviously a much more complicated set of instructions. Whether or not we can fit it in is a different question. Okay, so we grab, we rotate twice, and then we reset. And then we grab, we rotate once, and then we reset. And we can fit that in. Okay. Let's go ahead and program those instructions in for the rest of them then. Oh. I'm being an idiot. There we go. That's even simpler than the instructions I had. Okay. Now, five through 8. Do I have the room to do the same thing? I think I do, actually. Barely, but we have the room to do it. Okay, then this section of repeats can be removed. And that should function. Oh, nope, it won't function because I need to replace these with single arms. The cost of all of this is that it looks less cool. But we do just barely have the time to make the period length to make that work. Okay. That is no faster, which I knew it wasn't going to be. But it is cheaper. By a little bit. Yeah. I wonder what a minimum size solution would look like. Because you would need... Well, you have infinite lead, of course. But you need to accumulate 2 silver, 4 copper, 8 iron. Okay, so that immediately gets tricky to... I was kind of thinking, I wonder if you could do this with like one of these pieces by just making all of what you need of one type and still saving it aside, or making half of what you need of one type and saving it aside, and then using those to assemble the next piece and the next piece and reduce them down to have a silver sitting off to the side, and then go ahead and start from base principles and make your second silver using like a single arm. Let's try that, because I think that'd be interesting. Okay. So we're going to do something really dumb. We're going to do a single arm all the way to gold. And to do this, I need to make sure I can reach every tile, which I don't know if I can reach every tile with a single arm without having a, what are you gonna call it? I think we're gonna need a single piece of track too. Then we can move to here and access that. If I use a piece of triangle track, can I use a fixed length arm? Possibly. Not really. Okay. That'll make things a little bit faster later. Maybe. Or no, I should put it up there. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to first make Okay, we're going to grab a lead. We're going to rotate twice. We're going to reset. We're going to grab a lead. We're going to rotate once. We're going to reset. And that gives us an iron. Then we're going to... Actually, we're not going to reset. So we'll be in this position. Then we're going to extend one. Okay, we're going to release. We're going to extend one. We're going to move down the track. We're going to grab our freshly made iron. Boom. We're going to retract. We're going to rotate once. And then we're going to reset. I'd really like to do the whole repeat sequence, but that's not a good idea. Okay, so that gets us back over to there. And now we repeat most of the first part of the sequence. We can't use the repeat instruction because there's too much going on. Grab, we rotate. We release. Okay, so we just released there. Then okay, then we extend. We move forward on the track. We grab. We move back on the track. We retract. We drop. We move forward on the track. We swing. We grab. We swing back. We drop. Okay, let's run this sequence and see what happens. Okay, there's our first 10. Wait a second, what are we doing here? Oh, yeah, okay, that's right now. There's our first 10, we set it off to the side. There's our first iron. Okay. I really, really, really wish I could do a repeat instruction here. But there's no way. Unless... Okay, so at the end, the last instruction, we're sitting here. We just grabbed that and dropped it there. So now... we extend, we grab, and then retract. We rotate twice. And then we reset. Yeah. There isn't really a way to say, I want to package up a sequence of instructions and repeat it again. Okay, so this gets us our first iron. Now we want to do all that bullshit again. Unless I can think of a more efficient way to do it. I really, really wish there was a copy and paste instruction too, but there isn't. Or, you know, like not instruction, but keyboard command. I'm pretty sure there isn't anyway. Nope. Control C and Control V do nothing. Yeah, I'm too lazy to actually do that. It takes too long. Alchemical jewel. Okay. That's a thing. It probably isn't that bad. Okay, so we have a gold atom to go in the middle, and then we have a whole bunch of elemental earth atoms. And what we're going to be doing... Okay. I think we're going to use a plain, simple, straight welder. And then this needs to be a 2-length arm. Okay. Yeah, that'll work. Okay, and then the next piece we need to weld onto the outer ring periodically. think. Okay, let's make the core first so I can see how this is going to look. So, arm 1, you grab, and then you swing, and then you start pivoting. A whole bunch. Not that quickly though. Arm 2, you grab, you rotate, you release, you repeat. And at the point of every release, we pivot. Or something like that anyway. I might need to leave a space in there. Nope, this works beautifully. Okay. Okay, we don't need this last pivot, because at that point it's formed. However, I might want to run this in from the other direction. Because then the next thing we need to do okay, can we even do this? No, we can't. They collide. You need to start there. Need to lengthen the period a little bit. Temporary. All right. Okay, that'll work. Now you need to go there. Okay, we'll probably need to keep spinning it even after we finished assembling it to get everything into place. But then this arm is, I already know it's too short. Okay. Then we have the problem that these arms are too short. But I think that'll do. Okay, now arm 3. You need to do the exact same sequence. Grab, rotate, release, repeat. But your timing is perhaps a little different. Okay, you need to start one cycle later. Like that. At a minimum. Getting that last piece to rotate in is going to be interesting. Wait, how did I do that before? Oh, it's not going to work with the longer arm. Wait, that doesn't make any sense. I see what the problem is. Yeah, we can't do this with the longer arm. But we need to have the longer arm because we can't reach in that far. So... how am I going to do this? Well, we're just going to do it in 2 steps. Okay, so you grab, you rotate, you do the little spinny thing. Actually, this should probably be a double-ended arm so that I can maintain Okay, let's put this here as a visual guide for a second. Okay. Then the glyph will go there, and the welders will go here. And the other welder will go there. Like that. Okay. Now, I have succeeded in screwing this up again. Damn it. Because I want, if I'm going to do this as a sequence of steps, which I want to do, I need to have, if I want to do it efficiently anyway, we'll see if this works or not. Basically what we do is we grab this, we move it here, the first station. And move it there for the second station. Okay, we can't actually swing it through here because that arm is going to be very in the way. So this has got to go over here somewhere. Like that, probably. Which means that you need to go here. I don't know, we'll worry about where the second welder goes some other moment. Okay, that's not right. Because these need to be opposed. The assembler bits. They need to be directly opposite each other. Like that. Then basically what we do is we grab a gold, we move here, spin, 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 and assemble this one. And then we move to there. No, that's not going to work. Well, maybe. Grab the gold, move here, assemble the first half. And the problem is, if we actually have 2 and 3 run at the same time, okay, 3 has to be one cycle behind, basically. Then we move there. No, this is backwards. Okay. Grab, spin, drop, grab, drop, grab, spin. Okay. So we start here. Grab, rotate once. And then we do the sequence for 2. Then we rotate once. We drop. We grab. We rotate once. We drop. We grab. We rotate once. And then we run the sequence for 3. So 3 grabs, pivots, okay. Basically, we run exactly the same sequence as we ran for 2. And the 3 arm runs exactly the same sequence as 2 ran, more or less. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 repeats. 1, 2, 3, 4 repeats. Okay, we had one more. That looks correct. Alright. Then we rotate the arm. We drop. We grab. And then we rotate the arm again. And at that point, if I had used the right rotation directions, which I didn't, at that point, we're back where we started. And meanwhile, we'll have a second piece halfway assembled hanging out over here. That's why we do some inexplicable bullshit over here, because we're setting up to do the second one. And that's why the instructions for 2 and 3 have to be identical. Although I'm screwing this up because we need to cut this in half. Okay. Let's see if this works. Well, I know 3 isn't going to work because I didn't... Okay. So 2, we have to reverse the rotation direction on. That's easy enough to fix. Okay. And 3 is also bass backwards. And the welder is the wrong way. Okay. That's incorrect. That's also incorrect. That's going to be incorrect. That will be correct though. Okay. I don't think that's going to be... I'm going to have to add a few extra spins in there, I think. Because, yeah, see? We need to spin twice more. Which is not inherently a problem. Okay, it didn't meet the condition. Oh, we're missing the inner links. Okay, that's easy enough to do. Actually, okay, those 2 extra spins are needed on both ends now. Beautiful. All right. Okay. So one thing we can do, we don't technically need this hanging way out over here. It needs to start 2 cycles in. I believe it goes right there. Because they rotate at exactly the same sequence. Oh, no, wait, it does need to go way out there. Damn it. Because I forgot, it has to start 1 cycle later. Yeah, we need 1 cycle of delay. Okay, is there any way I can speed this up? Not really. Maybe if I used a triple arm. I would need to have more than a triple arm. I would need like a quad arm. But there is no such thing as a quad arm. And that wouldn't even make sense on a hex grid. But if I could do the welding tasks, do more of them in parallel. But yeah, there's no way we can do that. Alright, we'll just be happy with this. Golden thread. Okay, this is a continuously repeating sequence of gold and salt. Rather interesting shape, if I must say so myself. It looks like if I were to weld together pairs of these and then have a high pair and a low pair, and then do something like this. Okay, let's start by welding together pairs of salts. Okay, that should weld together a pair quite nicely. Boom. At which point, I think I'm going to use let me think. Okay, once that's done, arm 2 will grab, move up twice, arm 3 will grab, swing around twice, reset. Let's test this sequence. Wait, what? Oh. Yeah, no. Okay. We need a extender on there for now. Okay. Boom. Okay. And then we need to form a second one. Alright. We're going to do this a little differently. Arm 3, you go away. Arm 2, you become a piston arm, and I should not have done that. Okay, arm 2, you become a piston arm. And you start here. Actually, you start there. Okay. I was thinking about rotating this into place at the beginning, but no, that's got to come in the middle. So here's what we do. You start down here. Okay, you move up 3 times. So you're there. Then you retract. Well, you drop, then you retract. You rotate down. No. You move down. You grab. You extend. You reset. Okay, in the meantime, arm 1 has been assembling another double salt. Okay, then arm 2 after resetting, which means you're back down here. You grab. You move up 1. Okay, I don't actually want the gold there, upon second thought. We need this closer. Alright, so let's rerun this sequence of events in my mind. We make the first double salt, then we grab the double salt, we move up 3 times, and instead of releasing right away, we retract and then release. Then we rotate up, we grab, we pull down, we rotate down, and then we extend. And then we move down twice. No. Then we reset. Which is equivalent to moving down twice. At that point, there will be another double piece sitting there ready to go. So we grab it. We move up 1. And bad things happen because okay, then we extend. Wait. Alright, let's run through these motions again because I just realized I screwed up. I did something that seemed more efficient in the surface and turned out to be bad. I don't think we want this extra extend here, but let's check. We grab, move up 3, we retract, we release, we turn, we grab, we retract, we rotate, and then yeah, no, we don't want to extend. Okay, then we grab, we move up, we extend, we release, we move up, we retract, we grab, we extend, we reset. Okay. This isn't going to work by itself. We need a shuffler, I think. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So we gotta shuffle it forward by 1 tile. Okay, arm 3, grab, extend, reset. Okay. Yeah, that welds too soon. It welds in the way it's supposed to, but it welds too soon. Also, the number 2 arm is just doing way too much here. So I think what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to move all the welding stuff ahead. And the number 2 arm is going to be a fixed arm. And its sole purpose is going to be to move pieces into position for other arms to grab them and move them into actual position. So let's go ahead and delete all of these instructions pretty much. So we make the first salt pair, we move it up there, make the second salt pair. What? Why did that conflict? Oh. we need to lengthen the cycle again until such time as we have more complicated things going on. Okay. And I think I do actually want to use a piston arm for this, for simplicity's sake, so that I can extend that and get those to be in equal positioning. Yeah. Okay, so you can see where those are left. Now, lovely. I think we can use a simple single arm for this. Okay, arm 4. Grab. Swing. Reset. Okay. That welds the first piece together. Now, okay, this should work. Then we just shuffle this 2 tiles ahead with arm number 3, which is going to be renamed arm number 4. Okay, arm number 3. After arm number arm number 4. After arm number 3 shuffles that gold piece in, you grab. You move forward 2 places, and you reset. And we can speed this up a good bit, actually, by moving you back to there, and moving you back to there. No, actually that won't work. Because they have to be welded in a specific order or it doesn't function. Well, actually I could change that so that it could be welded in that order. I would need to just swap these two. Okay, that's moved into position. Yep. Okay, let me think about this for a second. I can probably... Okay, so that part has to be done in that order. Okay, we can start... This can start rotating a little earlier. As soon as that's out of the way, basically. Okay, we need a little bit more period on that. Okay, and then arm 4, you need to start moving a lot earlier. About there should do it. Okay. Now, can I reduce the extra period? Like, exactly how much of it do I need? I need at least one more tick, I think. Okay, I need at least 2 more ticks. I think I may need one more tick beyond what I have currently. Nope. Okay, we're good. Okay. Alright, that's not too bad. I'm pretty happy with that one. The plot. Okay. Speaking of plot, I've been paying not that much attention to the plot, let's be honest. That's not really the point of this game, I guess. Anyway. Mist of a hallucination. All right. It's a somewhat complicated chain of elemental air with a tin and a lead attached to it. And the only way we had to make the lead, or the tin I mean, is by combining 2 lead. Okay. Let me think about this for a second. The air is going to be completely uninvolved, except in so much as it needs the metal to be attached to it later. So how do I want to assemble the air? I think the first step is probably going to be to assemble pairs. And we'll use the good old time-honored pair assembly tool. Then we think once the first pair is assembled, I think we're going to want a track. Okay, so we grab the first pair, we shift it to here, we shift it to there. Boom. Drop it. Down, down, grab, shift, boom, we're done. Okay. So let's go ahead and program this first bit. We grab, we rotate, we release, we repeat. Then arm number 2 grabs, moves upward. At that point, we start assembling a second pair. Start assembling a second pair. We move upward 3 times. And then reset. And then we grab. I can move these forward 1 without delaying, changing anything, so I'll just do that. Make things a little cleaner. Okay, we grab, we move upward 1, and then we reset. And that should get us the core of air pieces. Okay. However, we will need to make sure the period is at least that long to prevent conflictions. Okay. So that gives us the foundation. Now, while that's going on, we need to attach a lead right there. And we need to attach a silver right here. No. Actually, that is incorrect. The lead needs to be attached to there. Well, that's annoying because we can't attach the silver while it's sitting here. I have to move it somewhere before we can attach the silver. Okay. Well, actually, that might not be a problem. Because we put the lead there, then we can use an arm here. Arm 3 grabs a lead, rotates it over twice, and then resets. We can do that pretty much any time during this whole sequence. Okay. And then arm 4. There's no reason to do this. We're not super tight for time. So arm 4 starts right away at the beginning, grabs a lead, rotates twice, drops the lead. No, resets. Then grabs a lead, rotates once, and resets. And that gets us our silver. Okay. Now, the silver... The silver needs to weld on somewhere here. Yeah, we can't use that. No how, no way. So we're gonna have to grab this and move it. Okay, let's actually watch the movements of arm 2 for a second. Okay, arm 2. When you're done, instead of doing that, move up one more. And then arm 5, as soon as arm 4 is done with its little sequence, you grab, you rotate, you reset. And this should result in the full shape being placed like that. Now we just got to get that shape out of the way and onto okay. Where's it end up? Right there. Okay, beautiful. I want it over here, actually, just for the demo of it. Alright, arm 6. As soon as arm 2 is done with its sequence, you grab, move back twice, and reset. Okay. Yeah, we still do need that period override instruction. Okay. I believe this will work. It's not the slickest machine I've ever made, by any stretch of the imagination. But it functions. It's reasonably fast. Timing crystal. Okay. Ooh. Okay, this is going to be another double wheel. Ugh, except we only have a single elemental salt reagent to work with. Okay, a double wheel is going to be annoying to do because of that. We probably can still do it, but we can't do it parallel, I don't think. Certainly not the way I would normally do it, by using a long double arm. Also, no, it's more complicated than double wheel because we need more pieces on the outside than on the inside. Okay, looking at this shape, I think I could weld these V-shaped pieces, and then once I have the V-shapes in place, we could do something like this. Where this is where the gold piece right here is sitting. So we weld to the gold piece. Then we weld the edge of the V to the previous V. Is that all we would need to do? We'd probably just want to have one here to weld the last bit without having to rotate it an extra time. But technically I don't think we would need it. Okay, and then we just make up these V shapes. How am I gonna do that? And then no, that wouldn't work. That definitely wouldn't work. This glyph of multi-bonding is such a useless piece. I really, really, really wish that I had a version of this that had like any other shape, basically. It's very rarely useful, but sometimes it can do things, I guess. So, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, it's a pain in the butt. Okay. So we weld that together. And then we have an arm here. that grabs it and moves it to there. And then I could use a piston arm to do that during the whole process of assembling the thing. Yeah, let's try that. Okay. So here's how this is going to work. Arm 2 is going to grab, and then it's going to swing twice and then reset. And while that's going on, arm 4 is going to grab and it's going to retract, and that probably isn't going to work. Yeah, no, we have to move this one step there. Okay. So it's going to retract, and then it's going to swing, and then it's going to extend twice, and then it's going to reset. And then arm 2 is going to grab, and it's going to swing once and then reset. And then arm 3 is going to grab, and it's going to swing and it's going to reset. And the end result will be the shape we need. Okay. Now, one problem with this is that we need the shape not here. We need that shape to be sitting right here. And the easy way to get it there is going to be with a shuffler. Okay, arm 5. You're going to grab it. Right there, after arm 3, let's go. And then you're going to move forward twice. And you're going to reset. Arm 1. You are going to grab a gold atom. And you're going to rotate into position. You can do this whenever the hell you feel like. And then you're going to have pivot instructions that are going to happen. Okay. So all of these need to repeat a bunch of times. Was that immediately afterwards? Damn it. I keep losing track of where these go. Okay. So you go right there. You go right there. And you go immediately afterwards. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. We assemble 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I believe it's 6 total. And then these all go 1 tick before the end of those. And then the next sequence goes one tick before the end of those. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That should be correct. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh. Nope. Okay, there we go. That should be correct. Now, you can go whenever. And then the first rotation has to happen there, I believe. Guess we'll see if this is correct when I run the test. It probably isn't, to be clear. Wait, what? Oh, arm 4 is missing its repeats. Oops. Okay, it happens 2 ticks after 2 moves. aka exactly the same timing as arm 5, but a sequence later. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, yeah. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, oops. We're missing one. Okay, this should work. Okay, we're missing a welder. And I have one welder in the wrong place because it creates problems later. That should work. I believe we will have to do one more rotation. Yeah. Okay, arm 1. Do one more rotation just somewhere random in here. And then rotate up and reset. Now, who's conflicting? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oops. Okay, that's probably our problem right there. Yeah, we're missing a piece. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You need to go over here. The same sequencing as all the rest. Okay. Okay. Surprised how well that works, actually. Definitely assembling the slices and putting them onto on like a pinwheel is the correct method, I think. There's too much room for exciting air. Okay. I don't like how this bottom piece is moved over. Arm 4 is definitely not the limiting factor on period. That's, I'm pretty sure, arm 1. Unless it's arm 2. Okay, arm 1 spends a lot of time waiting. If I could speed up arm 2, we would cut the period of this machine quite a bit, I think. So I think we're going to replace arm 2 with a good old wheel. So we'll grab, we'll rotate, we'll release, we'll repeat. Okay, let me think. Each of these sequences needs to be 2 repetitions instead of 1. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we're missing 1 right in here. That should be correct. Now, 4 is going to conflict a little bit with 2 now. I think I can safely move 2 forward and 4 earlier. Yeah. If I swap the position of these 2, that's a potential for a tremendous amount of time saving. Okay, now we need to compact everything else to work around that. Arm 1. Arm 2. Okay, Arm 3 is the next one we really need to work on. Arm 3. As soon as Arm 2 finishes assembling, Arm 3 needs to grab it. Okay. Now, Arm 5. Arm 5 needs to grab. As soon as Arm 3 moves. Okay, as soon as Arm 3 is done moving, or rather as soon as it releases, Arm 5 needs to grab. So Arm 5 needs to be overlapping with the final tick of Arm 3. Man, that's some insane condensing we've done. Now, Arm 1. It needs to rotate immediately after Arm 5. Okay, we have a bit of a problem though. Arm 5 and Arm 4 are conflicting each other. Okay, what? Okay, Arm 3 grabs, swings. Okay, Arm 5 can grab and tick earlier, I think, actually. That probably won't help, but it's worth a try. Okay, that does help, because they just barely miss each other now. Okay, now we need to do the pivot. Immediately after arm 5 drop stitch. So right there. Right there. Right there. Right there. Right there. And right there. That looks like it's going to work. Okay, that tightened up those timings rather insanely, actually. I'm pretty sure our limiting factor at this point is arm 4's speed. Okay, so we got a little hitch at the end where it stops. I think I can move arm 1 up a bit. A lot. And that'll reduce the period sums. We'll have less pause at the end. Yeah, look how much smoother that is. Okay, can I move those up one more to get an even shorter period? I can. Okay, arm 4 is still a problem. Yeah, if I want to make it any faster, I'm going to have to speed up arm 4. How could I speed up arm 4? I'd have to completely redesign it. If I could redesign it to remove the need for arm 4, that would instantly improve things. If I got rid of arm 3, we could speed up arm 4 considerably by putting it there. Actually, Yeah, no. That'd never work. Let me think. So the reason arm 3 is here is because it grabs that and then moves it. It changes arm 3 is partially here just to change the angle of the piece we're assembling. So if we assembled the piece at that angle already, which we could do by rotating this whole mess, and then use the shuffler to get it into position, we could get rid of arm 3 entirely. Let's make a copy of this solution. Okay, arm 3 is going to go away. Arm 4 is going to get modified, probably a lot. Okay. So what was arm 4 is now arm 3. And it needs... I don't think I can grab and swing this like that because it's going to hit that other arm. So I don't think that's going to work. However, we could change the rotation direction of arm 2 and assemble it that way. Let me think. Yeah, and this gets shuffled to there, where it has to bond with a piece sitting right here. And I think if I put an arm right here, we can grab that, swing it around out the slow way, and it won't actually be able to drop right there. Damn it. Because, of course it won't. Okay, we could put the arm 3 here though. And then that would just require... No. It's going to need to be on a track. I think that'll work. We grab it, we retract. Okay, arm 3. Grab. Move along the track. Swing down. And reset. Okay, arm 2. Grab. Swing down, release, repeat. ARM3, grab, move. Okay, let's test the early moves of this. Alright, ARM4. As soon as ARM2 is done, you've got to grab. Matter of fact, you should be able to overlap a little bit there. Boom. Okay. Wait. Okay, yeah, the sequencing's screwed up now, of course. Okay, so ARM2 assembles the piece. ARM3 grabs that, gets out of the way first. ARM4 ARM4 is timed as tight as it can be. Okay. So ARM4 overlaps the edge of ARM2 just perfectly. So ARM4 is now the limiting factor on speed, I think. Alright. ARM3, you need to be run. Okay. ARM2, the last tick of it overlaps. So ARM2 is sequenced properly already. ARM3 needs to run 2 ticks before ARM2. That is so tight. It could not run any faster if it... Okay. Now, ARM1, you need to sequence as tight as possible. Okay, ARM1 needs to move a little bit earlier. So it needs to match up with the end of ARM4. So when ARM4 drops, the tick after we need to rotate. Like that, I believe. Okay. It drops. I wonder if we could move this 1 tick earlier. Yes, we could. Alright. So that sequences with ARM4. It rotates 2 ticks after ARM2, or ARM4, I mean, does its thing. Okay, it needs to rotate 1 tick later. Really? Oh, whoops. These weren't actually one tick later. Okay. Yep, there we go. That's as tight as we can get. Okay, it conflicts, however, with arm 3. So we need to do that one tick later, I believe. And we might need to change the action sequence for arm 3 very slightly so that it moves forward and then rotates. Yep. Okay. Arm 3. You actually can't use a reset here. You need to drop, you need to move forward, and then you need to rotate. Because the reset is actually sequencing things in the wrong order. Which is... The timing is too tight to sequence them in the order that it wants to sequence them in. Yeah, see? We need to move on the track and then rotate, and the default return wanted to do it the other way around. It wanted to rotate and then move, which meant it didn't get out of the way in time. So I don't think we can make this any faster with this design. We saved exactly 2 cycles. And a little bit of area. And a little bit of cost even. Okay. There are some gaps that we could maybe close up. I don't think we can though, because everything's sequenced just so tightly. Because we grabbed that out of the way. We could start arm 2 moving a little faster, I think. No. Okay. Okay, so arm 3 closes. Arm 3 retreats. Arm 2 closes. Arm 2 rotates. Yeah. We can't sequence that any closer. And then arm 4 is getting there exactly on time. Now, there's no way we can make that any faster with this design. Okay. I'm surprised it's only 2 cycles faster than the other one, though. It was tightened up a lot. Or at least it felt like it was tightened up a lot. Although apparently the tighter timing was on arms that were not on the critical path. We did simplify it, make it cheaper, make it smaller, and all that fun stuff, though. Anyway, it is 10:43. So I think that we are going to call it here and continue this chapter tomorrow. I really like this game. We're definitely going to play a lot more of that. Or, well, however much more it takes to finish the main story or whatever you want to call it. Story, I guess. Even though it's kind of a boring story, honestly. And we'll probably play the DLC too, maybe. I wasn't entirely sure if I wanted to play the DLC, but at this point, it's highly likely that we will. Because, yeah, I like that game. I mean, I mentioned that already. Yeah, tomorrow, more Opus Magnum. Um, Thursday, of course, will be more Zoo Tycoon 1. And then Friday will be some EDF. And Saturday and Sunday will be some Timberborn, I believe. Seems very dry to you. Well, not everyone can have good tastes in games, Treebeard. Yeah. Let's see. Is anyone in the old follow list doing anything tonight? Actually, it looks like Noms is playing Skyrim. Okay. Yeah, let's go raid Noms. Skyrim's cool. I really enjoyed. I mean, I've enjoyed tons of Skyrim over the years, but I really enjoyed our last run. That was a. It was a very interesting run. I'd never really played a dedicated wizard like that before. Anyway, hopefully I see you all back here tomorrow for more alchemy, and I will see you all later. Good night, and goodbye.